Hello. Welcome back to House of R. I'm Joanna Robinson. Joining me today, the beautiful, the luminous, the exquisite Mallory Rubin. Mallory, how are you doing?
Oh, I think we've been under the big top for a while now, Joanna.
That's a fact. That is a fact. We are here to cover the Daredevil finale, season 2 finale. Here we are at the end of all things.
Man, the season blew by. Time
really
is
did.
just evaporating. This year is melting away. I don't know what's going on.
We're just barreling towards the apocalyptic summer that we have in store for ourselves.
Well, I'm anxiously awaiting a Lestat countdown update.
30 days.
That's soon. Which is terrifying and thrilling all at once.
Absolutely delightful. We'll get into Daredevil and what we have coming up right after this.
This episode of House of R is presented to you by Target. Calling all trainers! The Pokemon and Target collection celebrating 30 years of Pokemon is almost here, and the lineup is kind of incredible.
A few are sure to be fan faves. Pokemon starter jackets, mystery water-type Pokemon bottles, and even caboodles.
Which feels perfect, because Pokemon has always been about sharing the adventure. And Target is bringing fans together to celebrate that spirit.
The first drop is in store May 2nd, online May 3rd.
With the second drop, June 6th.
Explore now at Target.com. Okay, we are officially in it. We are in Friend of the Pod month. If you guys didn't know, Sam Witwer was on the pod to talk about the mall finale earlier this week. It was exquisite.
The best. He's a legend. It's just so fun to hear him talk about Star Wars Maul, a character he has played for so long, but just the wider Star Wars world and his deep knowledge of that and passion for it. It was really a treat. So if you haven't watched Maul Shadow Lord yet, watch it. Really fun show. Whether or not you've watched Shadow Lord, check out the interview with Sam Witwer. We had a blast.
It's a great month. Mando and Grogu's coming, which we will definitely be covering. But it's a great month to be thinking a lot about the wider world of Star Wars. And Sam is such an expert on all things. So I think you will have a lot to learn about his very educated take on Star Wars, even if you haven't watched Shadow Lord.
I should have asked him if he thinks I should have been able to select C-3PO as a Skywalker family member. I think he would have sided with me, as much of the internet has, despite Sean Fennessy's Iron Fist.
I don't know that that's the correct read of what the internet has said about the...
Absolutely.
Okay, sure.
Doesn't mean they think I won the draft.
No.
But they think that I should have been able to pick C-3PO.
I don't know that that's the take I've seen, but I support...
well, your algorithm's probably anti-Mal, so that makes sense.
What would it be? All right, so we've got a lot coming this month. We've got Punisher special next week. Spider Noir is coming up. Mando and Grogu, as we mentioned. We are planning to check in on Survivor before all things are done this season with some pals. And I think we can announce, I feel confident that this is going to happen. We're doing The Dark Knight next week. That's our Nolan movie we're doing next week with a pal.
Yeah.
So we've got some really fun friends stopping by next week for a couple things and in the ensuing weeks. And so The Dark Knight.
I can't wait. It's wild, too, because we kicked off the Nolan Revisited project without even realizing we were kicking off the Nolan Revisited project with Batman Begins because of the anniversary. That was a long time ago at this point. I mean, that was almost a year ago, which is just wild to think about. Not quite a year, but it's been a minute.
It's close.
And so heading into these final couple months before the Odyssey, new Odyssey trailer. Boy, that was something.
It was.
So many memes. I thought it looked great.
A lot's going on.
So many memes.
I will say, we were kind of joking about this. We've been joking a bit about this Nolan rewatch project, but it really has helped me inform all the conversations I've been having with people about the Odyssey. I've just been talking to friends. I'm like, well, the way he approaches an ingenue. And then my friend Katie brought up, because so much of the reaction to the Odyssey trailer has been a reaction to Tom Holland saying my dad, among other things.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well,
fighting for a daddy. Just great stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. But she's like, how does Nolan do with plucky young men? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's not an archetype he does a lot, right? You've got a couple JGL roles, I would say.
Yep. Sure.
Alden Ehrenreich and Oppenheimer. But it's not an archetype that he has
much more interested in great men and dead wives.
Yeah, great men and dead wives. Story for the ages. As I mentioned, 30 Days Until the Vampire Lestat.
Thrilling. Can you believe we get a Star Wars movie this month? I mean, it's been so long. It's been 2019.
So long.
I did not have nearly as much gray hair or hip pain when a Star Wars movie last hit the big screen. So, will it be good? Who knows? But I'm excited to find out. I can't believe it's finally Mando Grogu time. Just wild. And we're like a month and a half away from House of the Dragon. Sheesh.
I know. It's a lot.
Sheesh.
Disclosure Day.
Yeah.
Supergirl.
Toy Story 5.
Lanterns.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Before we get to all of that, of course, we are going to be talking about Daredevil. So this is a spoiler warning for all of Daredevil.
Yes.
Daredevil Netflix, Daredevil comic books, Daredevil Disney era.
Mm-hmm.
We at the end we'll have some sort of like season 3 news that we know about. We'll get to that at the end. I don't think anything majorly spoilery, just sort of who we know is involved, some questions about who might be involved, et cetera, et cetera. But that is the plan. Anything else you want to say before we go to our opening snapshot?
I don't think so. Just, follow at House of Our Pod on
great idea.
Instagram and TikTok. If you haven't yet, follow the pod. You can watch full video episodes of House of Our, which you probably know if you're watching this current episode.
hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com.
Inbox is always open. Yeah. Send us your thoughts on Grogu, on vampires, on aliens. Really all the genre hits,
We are recording. So next week we're recording sort of like a Mando and Grogu primer with a pal of the pod, friend of the pod.
Yeah.
We don't quite know exactly what shape that's going to take, but if you have like Star Wars questions burning a hole in your pocket, it's a good opportunity to send that to us. We can just take a look at the wider Star Wars galaxy,
get that
the
mailbag
state of Star
open.
Wars, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com. We've got a pretty solid expert on to talk about that.
Very
I'm pretty excited. All right.
It's Grogu.
It's Grogu. Let's go now.
Can you imagine? How would Grogu be on a pod? I mean, that's, it is Friend of the Pod month. And so I do think we should have Grogu on the movie breakdown episode.
Just to babble and coo?
Some of those Grogu dolls are pretty lifelike. Like, it's...
If we can find a way for you to expense like an animatronic Grogu that you can then take home and cherish forever, I think we should make it so.
I'll look into it.
Okay, great. Let's go now to our opening snapshot. Okay, so we're talking about episode 8, The Southern Cross, but I have a few other things that I want to get to before we get into the Daredevil at all. Okay. First of all, it's Friend of the Pod month.
That's right.
But my dearest friend of this pod is you, Mallory Rubin, which is why my algorithm is pro Mallory all the time. I am so pro Mallory. C-3PO is a member of the Skywalker family. Go. Of course, you're right. You've emotionally blackmailed me into agreeing with you.
Are Anakin's dad. It's canon.
I have a little gift for you.
Oh my God. I love presents. What is it?
It's this.
Look at this beautiful, presentation.
I wrapped it. It was, I think one of my hairs is in the wrapping. So you can tell that I wrapped it.
It's in the tape.
I wrapped it.
Great stuff. Very authentic.
I commissioned it, but our wonderful Hannah and our wonderful production design team here at Sycamore Studios got this together for you.
I'm excited. Okay, let's see. How do I best open this to preserve?
I mean, you can just tear into it, baby.
Your hair, which I'll keep in my
so you can clone me.
Nightstand. It's a good way for me to pretend I don't already have a lock of your hair at home.
Is it just one lock or is it just like a whole?
I'll never tell.
I'm constantly shedding.
I'll never tell. All right, let's see.
This is for you, but it's for our set here.
Ooh, some ASMR. Isn't this what the influencers do?
Yeah, but they usually have longer nails when they do it.
One of the many reasons I'm not an influencer.
You are. In your own right.
In my own right. All right, here we go. Oh my God, look at this. Oh.
It's a shield with a half red apple, half green apple.
It's gorgeous.
The House of Our way.
Love. Absolutely love. Sensational. And in time for a new Thrones show?
Yes. Inspired by House Fossaway, of course, on Night of the Seven Kingdoms. But this is our very own shield.
What a way to have Stefan Fossaway with us always, which has really been the goal. It's not really the dream. Raymond, I feel like, he's with us. He's in our hearts. But how are we going to properly carry Stefan with us moving forward? This is so awesome. I love it. All right, let's see. I have to say it's astonishing how much time I spent on Instagram lately. It's like very disturbing to me. So I do see a lot of those videos.
But I'm glad you're up on the Odyssey memes. That makes me happy.
I know. I mean, it makes me happy
on
as
Twitter,
well.
so I'm glad that you still get served them.
On Twitter
I know.
Anymore.
Your life is better for it, I bet.
Can't do it. Don't miss it. Can't do it. Every now and then I'm like, is this professionally irresponsible?
No.
Okay. Here we go. Ooh, it has a
like
weight
heft to it.
Oh, I love it. Oh.
Hand painted for us.
Oh my God, this is gorgeous.
Yeah. So we'll find a place to put it on the set, but that is just
absolutely
like,
love it. It's just beautiful. Should we place it right now?
No.
Later.
I think later. I think later.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
Joe, this is the best. Thanks, team.
Shout out Hannah. Shout out.
Hannah, you legend.
Yeah,
this is fucking awesome.
There we go. Friendship. It's our friendship together.
Beautiful.
Disagreements and harmony together in one place.
Oh my God. If that's not podcasting, what is?
Out of the way.
What a wonderful, wonderful thing.
I love
Beautiful.
you.
I love you, my darling. I love you. I had an apple this morning. It's like I knew.
It is like you knew. Also,
I'm not going to lie, I saw a surprise gift in the doc. Here's a journey. He sent the doc, looked at it. It's beautiful. Laughed, cried. Spent an extra second thinking first a surprise gift. Then I Googled, is Michael Gandolfini on Cameo? I did. I Googled it.
Is he on there?
I don't know. Sadly not, and I think he should be. Though I didn't really spend much time interrogating the results. But
why repeat a gift when I can...
Well, but it was
bring
such
arts and crafts?
I mean, it was such an epic gift.
Ted Wheeler.
Yeah, I do think Daniel Blake would have,
Hey, friends of the pod, if you're listening and you have an in with Michael Gandolfini and can get me a video to Mallory, let me know.
Oh my God.
Do you want to take a moment to talk about your Daniel Blake grief?
I think, guys...
Or do you want to save it for when his photo is dynamically inserted into this episode?
Yeah, we can hit it in context. I'm in mourning. I'm grieving. I'm despondent. And I really enjoyed you sharing the story on the pod of my pretty sincere text to you and Arjuna that was like, why has no one checked in to see if I'm okay?
Speaking of the pod we recorded last week with Rob Mahoney doing his level best to fill in for Mallory Rubin, we did do a hype draft check-in, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to respond to our hype draft check-in that we did last week with Rob. I think your draft is looking great. Mine, which was already off a cliff, just imploded even more when they announced that Narnia is not coming out until next year. So
tough one.
So it's a real tough draft for me. But I think you're looking pretty good, depending on how Mando and Grogu plays out this month. I think that might be make or break for your draft this month.
Yeah, as always, I feel like we live in the moment of the hype while we can.
Yeah. No, this isn't. I just wanted to celebrate you.
I think that Rob, allowing Rob to luxuriate in having ripped Project Hail Mary from our...
I don't think luxuriate is what I allowed him to do.
Many-limbed rocky hands was very big of you. I think I allowed him to look
like as much of an asshole as he was in doing that. That's what I did. Just leave them enough rope to hang themselves. That's my vibe.
I think that I would say right now, I feel like everybody can confidently say they'll end up with two good things for sure, at a minimum.
I don't know. Well,
and then from there,
I think my only opportunity is if Werewolf is very good.
You have Disclosure Day and Vampire Lestat.
Vampire Lestat is going to be great.
It's a lock.
Disclosure Day is a big question mark for people.
You're not so sure.
The way they're not screening it for people, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure at all about it. But Werewolf, I believe in you until you get pushed to 2027, and then
you get with Narnia. You just get to draft it again next year. That's always a fun tradition when we get to some of us get to repeat our draft picks when things slide. We're heading into like a really loaded back half of the year.
Like I said,
here,
I think you and Fennessy are head to head, and I'm rooting for you always.
Sean has a really
as your dear friend.
Sean, That's a good lineup.
But
it's a good lineup.
You did a great job too. And he's got Oswald the Lucky Rabbit that no one gives a shit about. So you have a chance here. And I believe in you.
He left the door open at the end there. I
believe in you. That's what I'm saying. I support you.
Thank you.
All right. It's a Daredevil pod. Let's talk about Daredevil. So I just wanted to ask you, what's your, now that you've seen the entire season, what's your takeaway from season 2 of Daredevil Born Again? How are you feeling about it?
I thought the season was significantly better than season 1.
Correct.
I would say it has not yet given me that Netflix era feeling of just something is happening inside of this show that every other superhero show is just going to like hope to be able to sniff, which is what that was. So, the fact that the standard for this show is an earlier version of itself is hard and always has been hard. I think that this season felt a lot more tonally consistent, structurally consistent, and assured than season 1. It was not a perfect season of TV. I think that the finale in many ways was like the season and the show in miniature, where I think there were things in this finale that were like really successful and interesting and good. And then, as has been the case the whole run for Born Again, things that did not like work quite as well or felt a little like clunky and choppy to me, either in terms of like what we're supposed to be tracking when about the plot, or even just something about like there's a little bit of a half step of the rhythm of this show that feels off to me in terms of just how the characters engage with each other and literally talk. Like how they are saying their lines. It's just like, it's a little bit, it's like when Matt and Karen or Matt and Jessica were interacting in the prior version of the show, I think you just really had that sense of like authentically like observing a relationship that was actually unfolding. Yeah. And this show doesn't do that quite as expertly. I do think that the area where it did it quite well, though, was Matt and Fisk, which is pretty important. I think that the finale centered Matt in his own show again in a way that was really necessary at the end of the season. He had sort of like receded into the shadows a bit in some ways because of just like the nature of the plot. He's in hiding, et cetera, but also because, some of the other side characters were really working. So we were moving other characters to the fore. And that was like, I think the right choice in some ways, but I think we were all like missing Matt a little bit. And so getting that at the end feels right and good as we then springboard into, I'm like, okay, season 2, better, but still a little tweaking. Season 3, can we finally like get this where it's supposed to be?
Hope springs eternal, man. Hope springs eternal.
Yeah.
And I think
what's your feeling on it at the end?
Bringing the defenders more earnestly is really the way to go.
It always works. It's worked every time. I'm like so happy Luke Cage is here. I'm just thrilled.
Yeah, it's great. That was as I was thinking about the season as a whole, my main issue with Daredevil Born Again as a whole is it often does not feel like Matt Murdock's show.
Yeah.
And it really just should fundamentally feel like Matt Murdock's show. And I was like, why is that? And I think it comes down to those relationships where the absence of Foggy has been a real problem the whole time. And then there isn't anything that's really filling in for that. I would say, and I know I'm biased in this, but I really do genuinely mean this. I think the interplay between Dex and Matt
for sure
in their moments together was as close as we got to someone who was like bringing something out of Matt that I thought was really, really interesting,
I really agree. I think it gave us some of that like Frank Castle and Matt feeling, which was like, I think still to me easily the highlight of season 1 was watching them interact, and even just the little moments of the shadow and specter of Frank this season unlocks that, and you really got it in like a supercharged capacity with Matt and Dex. So that was great.
And I know that you and I both are not like the hugest Karen fans, but I do think Karen is an improvement on like the Kirsten, Cherry, Heather, like all the people that he had to sort of bounce off in season 1, I do think Karen is an improvement over that. And so I agree with you. We're edging closer towards greatness. I think a thing that works against Daredevil, because Marvel doesn't have a ton of shows that's running right now.
Yeah.
And the other show we got this year was Wonder Man, and Wonder Man was fantastic and incredibly assured. It gave us a core relationship that we are so emotionally invested in. I didn't feel like I was missing big chunks of the story. That's part of, we've talked about the Daniel Blake death and how it was re-edited. In investigating the finale, I was watching a lot of interviews with the actors in the season talking about like massive stunts they trained for that got cut out of the show. Or, there's just like a ton of stuff that they did that got cut out. Inside of this episode, I'll talk about it out of context here, but like when we get the Matt Murdock, I am Daredevil reveal, we see Kirsten sort of crying, having this really emotional response to this information, and we never check in on her about it. And so I'm like, was that ever a scene or was it not a scene? Kirsten hasn't been the most successful character, but it's someone who is close to Matt in his life who would be profoundly impacted by this moment, and we don't have time or space to spend with her. And so there just feels like chunks missing or things re-edited, less so than the Franken version of season 1, but it's still, I would say, a sin of this show that perhaps they overshoot or whatever it is, and they're really figuring out what they want to do in the edit, and we can feel some of those sort of Swiss cheese holes inside of the show that we're watching.
Definitely. I think the Kirsten call out is a great one because it feels to me, and I say this without, to be clear, having any idea if this is actually true.
Right.
But it feels like, I think what you've identified is really sharp and smart, and it feels like reasonable to speculate in this fashion. Like, it almost feels to me emblematic of the slightly still present identity crisis of the show in terms of the limbo state of like assessing what is working and what isn't, and then in which cases to move away or move on. Like, Cherry's basically not in the show. He's got a couple minutes of screen time after the heart attack, right? So they've made a choice there. They've said people did not respond well to that. We are going to move away from it. We will not literally, like, get rid of the character, but he's basically out of the story.
But we will kill Vanessa.
We will kill Vanessa.
We will kill Vanessa. Daniel Blake.
I'd say that was an error, but obviously I'm biased. Kirsten, it feels like they're like, okay, we don't want to move on from this. And when you're able to put them together in the courtroom and see like little moments that reignite for us the kind of like early season one, I'm interested in how these people became so present in each other's lives and chose to open a law firm together. And, you know, the moments where Kirsten has been really like resentful toward Matt for vanishing or keeping secrets. And then the moments where she's like, dude, I thought you were fucking dead. Like, I'm just glad you're okay. And obviously there's like an affection there and a friendship there. This felt to me like the tier of like, okay, let's remind everybody she really cares. And also that there's a like clock of, the gears of the clock of like, okay, something now makes sense to me at last. I have an ability to see a complete picture of who this person is and like stop basically spending all of my time wondering what I'm missing about a person I should know. But that they didn't have the confidence to actually give us that full moment between them. Frankly, the fact that we have more time on Powell's face is, I think, like actually kind of
insulting.
Galling.
Yeah. And I think I just think they're making, you know, if you've got this group sort of holed up in the judges' chambers for a while as they're squaring off, there is an opportunity.
Yes.
I saw our friend of the pod, Eric Voss, on his breakdown of the episode was like, when Matt changes into his Daredevil outfit, did Jessica and the governor and Karen and Kirsten all just like turn their backs while he did it? Like, what was going on? You know, so like they're in that room for a while. Is there a moment for Kirsten to have a one-on-one with Matt and be like,
do you need me to help you with your zipper? And also I have some follow-up questions on learning that you're Daredevil. Jessica seemed very content to just hit the booze. Sure. Classic legend always.
Jess. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that would have been a nice little moment, especially because we actually got like quite a lot of the character moments in the other room. You know, we have all of this like Heather Buck stuff and Hawk Heather. Like, I can't wait to talk about all of that fascinating sequence. But there was a moment for that with Kirsten for sure.
Okay. More importantly, before we get into like what we're calling our deep dive here, I cannot wait to talk about this. This is something I texted about to you before I found out the answer in deep concern for you because you're still reeling from the Daniel Blake of it all.
I am.
I was like, is Buck Cashman dead? Because they shoot him. He is in critical condition. And then we get a coda on all these other people and we do not get a Buck coda. And I was like, is this guy in season 3? Artie, the actor who plays Buck Cashman, as you and I have recently discovered, is currently on the West End in London in American Psycho. Doing his shirtless best on the stage. And I know they're currently shooting season 3. So I was like, is he allowed to be in this play in London because he's not even in season 3? But this is what he told THR in March when he was giving an interview about the show. I'm going to be filming some of season 3 of Daredevil, which is the Marvel series I've been doing on and off, and that'll be coming up in spring. So maybe he's not as much in season 3, or we don't know, but we're hoping for Heather's sake.
I mean,
that Buck Cashman lives is the point. Unless he's Ghost Buck Cashman
that
in
would
season
be fun.
3.
Yeah.
You know, Heather's the kind of person who might sort of just
fuck a ghost, hit a pottery wheel.
Yeah.
Why not?
Choke a ghost. Why not?
Choke a ghost. I'm not prepared. I'm still really struggling with Daniel's death. I think it was the right story decision and actually quite effective and poignant, but I will miss him. If they had also gotten rid of Buck, I would have been pretty despondent, as would Heather. That said, while I'm relieved to know that he's filming scenes, and frankly, you know, if he's like in Lady Muse's blood paint lair or just like choke fucked in, They could probably just do that in a London hotel room anywhere.
One and the same.
Aren't they always? Buck Cashman was gut shot. Like Matt got shot in the leg. Good joke about needing a full knee replacement. We've seen a lot of our characters, including, the parallel imagery of Matt jumping in front of Fisk at the end of season 1, and now Buck doing that here, Bullseye firing the shot both times.
But Matt deciding not to jump in front of Buck Cashman. He's like, no, wait, stop.
That's where I draw the line. Buck, don't. Guys, no.
No, stop. Come back.
Citizens of New York, don't. I do think that Buck probably should have died. No, I'm not a doctor. I've said it before. I'm not a surgeon. But when you take a bullet in the gut,
coat,
the nice expensive suit jacket, that was pretty amusing. Classic Hochberg. Just a great showing from Hochberg.
It was a great
one
moment.
of the highlights of the season, no surprise. Though, on the one hand, I think that we and many Daredevil fans were like, great. The show has remembered it's a legal drama. This is really great. We're in the courtroom for basically the first half of the finale. Awesome. I do have a note for everybody who is partaking in the legal system in New York and interacting with Hawk. So you're a big sports fan. We've chronicled that a lot on the pod. You know about the pitch clock. You have freely invoked it without any prompting recently.
Here's what I learned about the NBA. Now anyone can challenge a play, and then the ref has to talk to the camera, and sometimes they ham it up.
Yeah, they do. Some of them like to really lean in and perform. Interesting that you should say that, because I am now about to invoke a challenge thing as well. This year, Major League Baseball has introduced the ABS challenge, Automated Ball Strike Challenge, and teams get 2. However, if they get them right, so either the batter, the catcher, or the pitcher, it's got to be within seconds of the ball strike call. Tap your head, you get a challenge, the review. And if you know how to strategically use it, you call it with high confidence. If you get the call right, you don't lose it. You get to keep doing
2
it.
more.
So you could have if you got 10 right in a game, you keep going. But when you get them wrong, you lose them and then you can't do it anymore. We need to institute the ABS challenge cap on Hawk with his objections. Because no one could get through half a sentence without this guy objecting.
That's good lawyering.
Appalling.
And he got most of them sustained.
But not all of them.
One was overruled because the judge finally had a change of heart.
Tap the head.
No,
Go to the booth.
No. Hochberg was doing a good lawyering job because Matt and Kirsten were like, what if we just did whatever we wanted?
Wild initial approach from Matt. He really found his form eventually, but some notes on the tactics early. Great stuff.
Honestly, I think Hochberg should have objected more to what Matt was doing.
Just every 2.5 words instead of sentence and a half.
Not lawyering. All right. Was that our deep dive? No, this is our deep dive. Let's go now to our Daredevil deep dive. All right, perfect place to start. Battle in the courtroom. So this is something that we had talked about as a possibility of okay, we already saw a big physical showdown between Matt and Fisk earlier this season.
Yes.
Other seasons have ended, season 3 especially ended with a big, physical, I beat you, showdown between Matt and Fisk. So isn't it fun and interesting that the showdown happened in the court of law with Fisk on the stand and Matt as a lawyer? I wanted it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Was it perfect? No, but I think it was way more satisfying to me than a physical fight would have been. And I think it was a great idea.
I quite liked it as well. I think it felt very appropriate given their respective positions in society, in the city, the way that they both talk about the city, the way that they talk about their history with each other, that the episode, especially given the oh, by the way, Matt Murdock tells everybody he's Daredevil aspect of this, which was a transition between the duality of these two characters. We're going to fight inside of the system, and then we're going to fight with our fists.
Right.
And the moment of transition is going to be saying out loud, this is who I am. And that means that both parts of that are who I am.
Kingpin? And you have to admit right now on the stand, Mayor Fisk, that you are also Kingpin.
Very good.
And Jessica will be like, watch your back, Kingpin.
I loved the way she said Kingpin. Incredible.
My favorite moment, though, is before Fisk gets on the stand, when Dr. Heather Glenn is on the stand. And Kirsten brings up the fact that Dr. Heather Glenn slapped Karen Page.
Iconic scene. I cannot believe. We thought it was tough that I missed talking about Daniel's death in real time. Yeah. Missing talking about Heather slapping Karen, which I texted you about many times.
No, it was great.
What an all-time scene.
Absolutely great. But Kirsten brings it up. Karen Page has this like huge bruise on the side of her cheekbone. So great shot, Heather Glenn, I guess.
Yeah, jeez.
Talk about your Southern Cross. That's not what that is. Anyway, and Matt takes the moment to get like kind of bitchy with her. It's like kind of déclassé to do this to your ex-girlfriend who you've like left and stuff like that. That being said, he's like, you hit my current girlfriend, I'm gonna get a little bitchy with you. And he's like, though, like the way you're hiding behind the Fisk administration. And Heather is like upset and hurt by this.
She is.
I enjoyed this bitchiness from the Catholic boy, Matt Murdock, who's like, no, don't kill Fisk. Like, this is good.
I thought this was before Matt really recovered, and you know, we've spent a couple weeks like, what's Matt's plan? We think we know what Matt might be doing here. How's this all going to play out? In that moment, I was like, boy, Matt, we always love when the heart breaks through the constraint, whether that's the suit that he's wearing into the courtroom, the suit to go fight as a vigilante in the city. This was a real, like, I'm like, Matt, you have an actual pretty important job to do here. Like, stay focused.
And he's like, no, you hit my girlfriend.
It's like, whoa, no. Does Matt remember what the script is? But then he recovered with a quickness. Earlier, when Jess was working to repair his leg, and he was like, very calmly and casually, like, I don't think that Fisk is going to kill Heather, you know, and I just said it like it was, I don't know, kind of a gamble. It's like, I don't think I'll kill Heather or kill Karen. It's like, what if he had? So that was all pretty wild. I got to say this about Heather and the book reading. You're an author, you're a best-selling New York Times best-selling author.
Sure.
So you've been in this position, you've been on the book tour, you've been on the circuit, you've read passages, you've read excerpts. People are quoting and reciting your beautiful prose.
Constantly.
They are. Should I ever pen a tome one day, I just want the excerpt that I'm asked to share in the court of law or otherwise to be more impressive than this.
This is the one line. We've already heard this line from her book. It's like, I feel like this is the 5th time we've heard it trotted out. And I think the people who make the show are quite proud of that line, and they're proud of the payoff that they have with Heather at the end when she sees her own face in the mirror.
Yes.
All of that sort of thing.
I did enjoy
I'm not
her
as impressed by it, but
no.
they like it. So
quite
it was going to go in here. I have watched a lot of Perry Mason in my day.
Okay. I've watched none of it.
I'm not like a Law and Order fan or whatever, but I've watched a lot of Perry Mason. What Matt does here is a classic Perry Mason move, which is, and maybe they do in Law and Order too, but you put your client is being tried for something, you suspect they didn't do it, you and your investigators find out who actually did it, and you get them on the stand and you make them confess. Now, is this like... very A Few Good Men inspired? Yes. But let me just tell you that Perry Mason did it 22 episodes a year for like years before they did A Few Good Men. But this sort of like put someone on the stand to force a confession out of them and get them to lose control.
Right.
And just sort of like bellow out something. Or sometimes they are in the audience and they stand up and they're like, that's not how it happened. And you're like, how did you know that? Because you're the murderer. It's not how court cases are done, but it is how fun television is done. And so the very Perry Mason, A Few Good Men approach here. That being said, in all my years of watching like every rerun of Perry Mason growing up, never once does a person get on the stand and just launch into a monologue as Wilson Fisk does here.
Fisk. Classic.
Just pretty, I mean, he's making Matt's case, which is that this courtroom is a farce if the mayor can get up here and just sort of like start monologuing without anyone asking him a single question. This is just his kangaroo court. It's not the real halls of justice.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was really funny. I was like, okay, Fisk is just... And as I said earlier this week on the Mall episode, do I like monologues and finales? I do. Yeah. So I did enjoy it, but I laughed a lot because I was like, this is ridiculous.
It was classic. I found this very entertaining as well. Also, Matt will call him out on it. But like, that is his second speech. When Matt calls, he just sits down and starts speechifying. By the time Matt gets around to like, I should probably point this out, he's on speech number 2. No man stands as tall as this courthouse, these institutions. It was so funny.
That's why I am pushing back on your Hochberg too many objections. I'm like, Matt, more objections. Kirsten, stand up, object.
No, Hochberg, just like Fisk, making an absolute mockery of the court. I loved this because Matt and Fisk, in their long history together, both think not only are they like working toward a goal or toward executing some sense of like in Fisk's case, certainty, right? He is assured in his vision and believes that he is right. Very dangerous. Matt, often the opposite, consumed, riddled with doubt. And then he's like, but I have to find a way to push for the thing that we as a society need. So there's like a parallelism, but like a contrast there. The fact that they both think they know each other really well, though, is the most interesting part. The dark mirrors and then the fact that they think because of those mirrors that they know each other is always one of the most interesting things to watch. I love when we get different versions of that. So like one of my favorite scenes in season 1 was the diner sit-down scene.
Yes.
When they're just at a table with each other talking about the things that they know to be true about the person a foot away. Then to do it on stage, like to make it theater.
Where all the cameras are on.
Where all the cameras are on and where you know you're going to be able to lure someone. You know they know that's what you're trying to do.
He's like, I'll go down this road with you.
Yeah, but it's like, one of you is going to get it right.
Yeah.
That was really fun to watch.
I agree. I really agree. I think it's so interesting because it's undeniable that Matt and Fisk, second only to Matt and Dex, are the most compelling dynamic on this Born Again version of the show.
For sure, yeah.
And they have that sort of Alicent and Rhaenyra problem on House of the Dragon, which is like, how do we get these two in a room together and how often can we do it in a season? And we can only do it a couple times because they're the heads of warring factions. So like, how can we bend the plot? You know, can we make Matt disguise himself as a nun in order to sneak in somewhere to talk to Fisk? I don't know. Maybe they should have done that, but it's great here, and I'm glad to see it in the finale. I think it was really smart to make this a battle in the courtroom. I have some questions about the larger like battle in the courtroom, but the legal battle was successful. I thought quite fun.
Agreed.
As for the identity reveal, which you've already talked about a little bit, like, were you surprised by this at all? It felt like they really I actually thought he was going to do it in the previous episode.
Yeah.
I felt like that had to have been his plan when he was like, Karen's like, I am gonna, and they like didn't say what it was. I was like, he's gonna say he's Daredevil. He's gonna make Fisk say you're a hero for saving me.
Yes.
Well, how can I be a hero if I'm
and
also
confirm
Daredevil?
that he was there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then allow him to give valid testimony.
Which is not, I don't think you can do that from the lawyer table, but fine. That's fine. Objection, attorney is testifying, et cetera, et cetera. That's not something I was saying. But, and then I felt like they really, even feeling that way though, I really wish they hadn't felt like they needed to lay the stones for it so much inside of this very episode.
Yeah.
Unless you think it was worth it for Fisk to be like, are you going to do it? Do it. I think you're going to do it. Are you going to do it? Go ahead and do it. See what it gets you. Was that worth the squeeze, the juice worth the squeeze for you, or how did you feel?
I have I have kind of a mixed feeling on this as a thing that has happened and how it was executed and done. So I agree with you. It felt clear for the last couple of weeks that we were heading toward whether they would actually do it, at least toward Matt intending to do it.
This is the plan.
Yeah.
This is his big idea.
Yes. To the point where I have to say, talk about being in stitches watching something, like 5 to 7 cuts to Karen's astonished face as this was unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if those are memes yet. I've been too focused on the pining for your daddy Odyssey memes, but I hope these are memes. Very funny.
Quick question. If Tom Holland had just said my father instead of my dad,
no one would have anything to talk about on the internet this week.
My dad?
My dad.
I don't mind the American accents, but my dad versus my father is a real odd choice, I think.
It's a stumper.
Yeah.
It's a puzzler.
Yeah. Pattinson's saying daddy, yes, but my dad,
so funny. Dad,
my father, Odysseus. Anyway.
Pops? What if you said Pops?
Yeah. Papa
would have been great.
My papa, Odysseus.
Oh, man. So there are a couple ways to look at this. There's inside of the MCU and then inside of the long history of superhero storytelling and comics, right? So there have been moments in the comics where Matt has revealed his identity, including in the courthouse, right?
Yes.
That all makes sense. It felt plausible that would happen at some point. Matt's secret identity inside of the MCU has been one of the only secret identities.
Yeah.
So you have, the kind of original choice of Tony standing up and saying,
now that Peter Parker has just erased everyone's memory.
Big beat. But right, so street level heroes Daredevil. Obviously, we've gone through different versions of like, and this is always part of a secret identity story, who close to you learns and when. And that group swells. But in terms of public awareness, mass awareness, Peter has had various journeys with that, right? You have Matt, Kamala, Ironheart. It's like a small group of heroes much operating inside of like their home.
Their families.
Right?
Yeah.
So like the original choice at the dawn of the MCU to have Tony get up and say, I am Iron Man, informed so much about how the MCU was going to handle this. So like most of our heroes, their identity has been known in the MCU the whole time.
And that was part of what was really fun about like the Daredevil Netflix era feeling like a different, even though they made allusions to Battle of New York, like they made it clear that it was happening in the same world, but for legal reasons, they could like not really cross over at the time. And so it was like, we're doing something different. We've got a superhero with a secret identity. Jessica Jones just looks like Jessica Jones.
Yes.
So like, but this is something we're doing that's very different. So it does to your point, feel like a monumental sort of shift.
It's a big deal. So like inside of the MCU, I think it makes sense. It also does feel like the end of something even bigger than just the end of something obvious, which is my secret identity. And for Matt, given what it means for Matt Murdock to be like a blind lawyer who is fighting for justice in this different theater, part of me wishes that they hadn't done this. I thought it was a cool moment when they did it, but I'm like, man, this changes things so radically. My only actual real genuine note on it, though, is just that I think the Northern Star is just too dumb of a plot aspect to have led to this. Like, it's just not a big enough or well-executed enough thing to have given us Matt Murdock saying out loud, I am Daredevil.
I don't disagree, but I also think if, like, the larger consequence is we wedge Wilson Fisk out of his throne of power, then, like, I suppose it's worth
doing it to beat Fisk. Makes sense, for sure.
I just have some questions about the reveal itself because, like, he does his maneuver, and I guess everyone's like, okay, that's Daredevil. Yeah. But that Powell's response is like a blind lawyer who can fight. But I'm like, why aren't more people being like, has Matt been faking being blind this whole time? Like, why isn't that? I was expecting more of that response of like, that guy definitely isn't blind. And Matt would be like, well, you see.
They had all of those conversations. They all talked about it. It was just, it was at the exact same time as Kirsten was like, I'd love to follow up with you about what I just learned. Just none of it made the edit, So do you think this was the right decision for Matt to reveal his identity?
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think to go where they apparently wanted to go, which is Matt Murdock in jail.
Yeah.
Right. Committed for the crimes of Daredevil, which is a comic book storyline it seems like they want to pursue. I think that makes sense. Does it mean he could integrate more easily into the larger MCU if he, like the other heroes, can just sort of like walk into the Avengers Tower or something like that? Like that's something to think about.
Yeah.
So I don't know what those larger plans are. We can talk about like whether or not we think he's in the Spider-Man movie at all. But like that's I don't think it was perfectly executed. I don't mind that it was done.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like having seen the internet reaction, a lot of fans seem to have really, really liked it.
Yeah.
So
it was exciting.
And, like, him throwing, that
was great.
That was great. That was really great.
that was great. It's like, Hochberg, shut the fuck up.
Speaking of throwing things.
Yes, indeed.
My guy Bullseye does not miss, mostly.
Boy. Yeah.
Still the best part of the episode for me. Sorry.
It's incredible take. He had like 2.5 minutes of screen time.
It was great. Comes in, kills a bunch of guys.
He does.
Calls a guy dressed as Bullseye a poser.
That was really funny. Calling him a poser was
Takes
great.
over the sniper rifle. I do have a note for my guy Dex.
Yes, I should hope so.
Why did you need to announce yourself to Powell like wrong Bullseye when if you just kept your trap, you're beautiful. Redeemable mouth shut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And let everyone walk out because clearly the plan was to kill Fisk.
Yep.
You could have gotten your shot, but you had to run your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did Powell hear you, Matt heard you, with his supersonic hearing. And like, you just blew it, man. I mean, you shot Buck Cashman, and that's tough for me because it's my guy versus Mallory's guy, and that's really tough.
Not ideal.
Not great.
Not ideal.
I still think in terms of, I understand that I'm fully in the tank for Dex, but I think in terms of like his sequence coming in and just like you see the CCTV in the hallway and you see like the objects being, you're like, here it comes.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's just like the excitement of the way that these fights are shot.
Yeah.
To me, and again, I know I'm biased, but to me is more dynamically exciting than some of the weird Jessica Jones jumping maneuvers that we saw in this. All of the Fisk punching through the heads of protesters was interesting in its own right. Very Vader-esque in the Rogue One hallway sort of moment. But I don't know. I understand that I'm in the tank for Dex, but I think his fight scenes have been the most fun to watch this season. And that and Matt Murdock fighting has been my favorite thing to watch in the MCU before, up to this. And when he shows up in other shows on Echo, number of other places, Matt Murdock shows up
Echo fight was great.
to twirl and kick. And I'm like, fuck, yes. Go. And I've just been not feeling that magic inside of his own show this season.
You didn't like the very dramatic moment where he got to run toward the camera, kind of parkour off the wall and go, ugh. That didn't do it for you?
How many times did you replay it?
More than once, I'll say. Grunting and groaning, if memory serves. Not for me, but for the subtitle. Well,
did he exhale? Did he pant? Was he orgasming when he did it?
He's been panting so consistently that it's hard to isolate and identify a really seismic specific exhale. I agree with you. I think that so to bring Kingpin into it, as you just did, is I do think that there is something about, Daredevil's fights across Daredevil comics canon, across the Netflix show, there is an undeniable savagery and violence to a Daredevil fight, for sure. Bullseye and Fisk is at a different degree.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Bullseye's I'll kill everyone.
I'll kill everyone. And Matt, while for sure murdering and crippling legions, says he doesn't want to do that.
Well, especially not his best friend, Wilson Fisk. Don't lay a finger on him. Shot Buck Cashman, but don't you dare lay a finger on Wilson Fisk.
I just think Buck probably should have bled out and died, but I'm glad he didn't. The way that
unless he did,
you have Bullseye, you have the
ghost fucking.
Who says no? They're capturing with Bullseye the balletic nature of his movement, the pitching, the motions with the arm. Oh man, the spin rate. Yeah. What's the spin rate on that fastball? The way that he is twirling his knives and moving, and also just the undeniable violence of, all right, I cut your fingers off so that you couldn't reach for that thing, and then I put this through your brain to lock you into the floor just because I could, right? And then that's present with Fisk too. It was obviously harrowing and horrifying to watch him bludgeon his way through his citizens, the citizens of New York.
The city he swears to protect and improve.
Yeah, and as a way to capture the hypocrisy of Wilson Fisk and the beast waiting to rise within, very effective in some respects. The fact that Kingpin as a character can just punch you once and your head explodes is a thing that they need to get right when they show it to us, and they did. We've been talking a lot across our Nolan rewatch as we talk about Matt and Dex, Matt and Punisher, Matt and Fisk, about these measuring stick moments. And the Daredevil fights in this show are just flat out not as good as in the Netflix show. And it's just true. And I don't quite know why. I don't know why they can't or shouldn't be as good as in the Netflix show. I do think we've talked about this in other contexts recently. They should then not put them in hallways because it just invites the invitation. It just invites the comparison. Yeah. And it's if it's not going to be as good, don't put Matt in the famous, iconic place where we are thinking about
Season one
and all of these great moments. Or, season one, obviously the most iconic moment, but even the stairwell and the
where he killed all those people.
Roof where he killed all of them with the chains around their necks, all of them. Or, the prison escape sequence, right? There are just so many moments that were this is legendary, the way that this has been filmed and choreographed and the stunts have been executed. These fights have been somewhere between, the opening, if we think back to season one, wait, why did they make Daredevil Spider-Man? I think kind of a mass response to that.
Yeah.
We've vast improvement from there, no question, but we're not at the highs of the first series. And that's a shame. It is.
I agree. And maybe Hope Springs Eternal in season 3, they can get it right.
That would be great.
In several prison fights, ?
I would love that. It was all of Matt's fights were more convincing though than Karen going in, knocking out the task force guy,
chopping that guy with his gun,
and then leaving his gun next to him. You got to take the gun with you.
It was such a weird moment.
What was that?
What was that? All right. Is this January 6th is my next question.
Mm-hmm.
I am really confused by the optics of how they filmed this because I understand that, as we discussed before, anyone can wear the mask is like a really fun idea to see this like mob of daredevils. Daredevil is not standing alone against Wilson Fisk. He has an army of other daredevils with him. I liked seeing all the sort of like homemade cosplay.
Me too.
You know, all of that was really cool. For Matt to say, oh, hey, this movement has gotten out of hand. Like, I don't want us to be that violent. That's sort of interesting to me.
Yeah.
The optics, unfortunately, of this group storming this courthouse building and the way it was shot looked so January 6th to me that I was just like really confused about what messaging they're going for here when like the January 6th insurrection is one of the most like shameful and upsetting chapters in our history of shameful chapters. And I'm rooting for none of the people who stormed the Capitol on that day. And so to film this like seemingly on the right side of history crowd in the same way was really an odd choice, I thought. Like really confusing to me.
I agree. I think that the idea, it seems clear that the intention was to say, let's do the reverse Jan 6.
Right.
That the assembled charging the halls of power to take back their city are in the right. But the comp that they're clearly making, right? No question.
Right.
Is such a messy one. And especially because like the characters are in a couple different ways in the build up to that acknowledging how perilous this is.
Right. It's a tinderbox. Like, don't call in the National Guard because there could be a war.
So you have Fisk basically inviting the throngs of his supporters to charge and do this thing.
No one shows up. It's just the anti-vigilante task force until Powell gets knocked out, and then it's not even them. It's just Fisk. This was
the larger critique that you have rightly identified is the most important thing. Well, I do think that the task force, like Cole Powell thing, was just so weird.
So weird. The Hector Ayala, like, Hector wouldn't do that. Oh, but you said he did. Like, that was
bizarre.
So confusing.
Really clunky. A good example of how sometimes sequences in the show just feel really, like, off. Just like something is off. To challenge Powell and knock him out and say, like, you know, having witnessed him shoot Saunders in the head. Yeah, like, that tracked. But the fact that we basically got the task force members in Fisk's chambers there saying like, you know, Matt and Karen aren't alone. This is going to be really hard. And he's basically like, well, you're free to resign if like you're not ready to execute your responsibilities, because they realized they had given us zero other indicators that anyone else on the task force would have been like, go on in.
Right.
Like, that's just sloppy storytelling.
It's very
the fact that we have the moment between these two characters who have interacted in the task force and in these fights many times. Okay. But then just saying let them through and everyone else is like, okay, what has positioned us for everybody else standing there to make that choice?
Powell's charisma that was keeping the whole team in line.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was really strange.
Here's the larger problem with Daredevil Born Again, which is that they're really excited to do a Trump allegory. Like they're really excited to do Trump. Obviously, they gave Daniel Blake's mom a flag that was the Trump flag, except it said Fisk on it. You know what I mean? Like that is what they are doing.
For sure.
But they're also scared to do it at the same time. And so it just feels like they're scared to go all the way. Like for Fisk to end the season on his island versus like in jail or dead is such a bizarre move that it almost feels like they were scared to take their Trump parallel and do something more aggressive with him, you know? Like,
yeah. So this is something I was going to ask you. Like, do you think we could read it the opposite way, where it is like an intentional critique of the fact that like the actual legal system has no ability? And we've seen that with Fisk before, but also obviously with Trump, that like, arresting this person is like not
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely fair. I just think there are then steps missing inside of that storytelling.
No question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree completely. I think that the fact that this was Sheila putting a cell phone in front of Fisk twice and being like, the AG's on the line and he says this is as good as it's going to get. And Fisk is like, fuck off. I've got some people to go bludgeon in the face. To death.
Yeah.
And then Matt is like, Wilson, take the deal, and the deal is going to allow you to exist in harmony with Vanessa's memory, even though you canonically, like Anakin Skywalker, hate sand. And then, you think back, and I think at the time we were like, that conversation between Vanessa and Fisk was like pretty like conspicuous about the island. Like it felt like they were setting this up, right? So again, it's just not the most like nimble and graceful storytelling in terms of marching us toward an outcome.
I mean, also a question is like, do we put it back in jail? We already did that with Fisk.
Yes.
Do we kill him? We don't want to because we want to be able to bring D'Onofrio back whenever we need to bring him back.
For sure.
So we'll just, Apples save him over here on the island until we want to bring him back for season 4 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I just think I just struggle so much with Matt's morality here when he's like, when we have to watch Fisk.
Yeah.
Punch in the heads of people and break backs, and then for Matt to fling his body in front of Fisk's and say no. And the idea is I'm saving the souls of the citizens. I don't want the citizens to have his blood on their hands.
Right.
But I feel like all of us at home are just sort of like, this guy should not survive.
Yeah, sure.
This horrible thing that we just watched him do among all the other horrible things we've watched him do. We literally just saw him punch people to death.
Yeah.
With
like a kind of reckless abandon and a lack of like, there's no discrimination in what Fisk is doing. Anybody who is in front of him is an impediment just to him literally moving forward, right? In addition to moving forward in terms of his larger goals for like world domination and control of the city. I think we feel similarly about this with Matt because we love, not just with the Charlie Cox Matt Murdock on TV, who we've spent, like a decade watching and loving now, but Matt Murdock is a character that the conflict in the human heart is the only thing worth writing about, including with Matt Murdock.
Did you come up with that?
Has anyone ever said it before?
No, just you.
It's so consistently interesting to watch him grapple with that internal dissonance. However, and I think even in a moment like this, you can, like you said, he doesn't want, he's trying to save their souls. You have the religious aspect of that. Certainly.
Grace.
The idea of grace, directly invoked in this finale and obviously very present in Matt's consideration of his own, what he deserves and what his soul deserves, but also what other people's deserve. I think that like another core aspect of Matt Murdock's experience and like what he brings to us as a character is the idea that you have to make decisions for yourself. And so there's a little bit of a like, I don't know, a vigilante is definitionally doing something on behalf of others. And that makes sense and is okay. But like Matt Murdock, whiny babysitter, like just isn't as compelling, right? And I think the idea that he would be consumed by dread that the people who were on his side, not Fisk's, who wanted to remove Fisk from power and reclaim their city, just as Matt does, would be behaving the way that Fisk does, that the rot had gone so deep that the people nominally on the side of light
our
and good.
Violence has spilled over into even my supporters who I consider on the right side of history.
Yes.
And
I understand that. I do. I think that tracks and makes sense that Matt would want to like throw himself in front of that, bearing its like full noxious rotten fruit. But it is, I think what you're saying is just kind of like impossible to argue against that. Why does Wilson Fisk deserve to like be on a nice island sipping fucking pina coladas? We gotta get that Hawaiian shirt back. I mean, it really was like,
but I think
that's crazy.
I think the show has a Wilson Fisk problem in that D'Onofrio is so good at Wilson
amazing.
Fisk. Yeah. And so like, they tried to have him as almost like a one season character in season 1 of Daredevil, right? There's like a full arc for Kingpin there. And of course in comic books, like villains and heroes tangle together and you have to keep the Joker alive so that Batman can fight him and stuff like that. Like I understand that. But like they just struggle to believably, especially in this sort of like grounded street level alleged reality sort of world that we're living in, and especially inside of a show that is interested in like, how does the system work?
Yeah.
They really struggle to figure out how to keep Wilson in play in a way that lets Matt win.
Yeah.
But also Wilson can come back again next season and do some more damage.
Yeah.
And they tried to like, like bring in the Hand and bring in, Elektra and all that other stuff. And they're like, it's not as magical as Wilson Fisk. And I agree, but I don't know the solution to the problem. But it is a problem they have.
I think for sure. It's on my mind because I'm like, all right, I do feel it's pretty easy for me to identify and say that my favorite aspect of the show in all of its iterations now is Matt and Fisk. That's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah. And then Dex.
And then Dex. and then Frank.
Daniel Blake. And then Daniel Blake.
R.I.P. Foggy, we miss you. I note that I did not list Karen. Observe with interest that I did not list Karen. I found myself for the first time ever watching Daredevil on television saying, I hope that Fisk is not a major part of the next season, which is a shock to me. And like, not because I don't think those scenes would be good, but because it is just at a certain point too much of the same thing. And that is not interesting. It's not fresh, and it's not a way for the character to grow.
And this is why, I mean, like, we're doing our extended, protracted Buffy rewatch, but this is like the genius of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is that we have a new big bad every season.
Yeah.
Some are more dynamic than others, but there's always just like a new kind of thing for Buffy to conquer. And that's sort of like the Whedon model that a lot of other shows have followed. But like, Kingpin and Daredevil on the comic book page, like this is the Joker Batman comp, like this is undeniable. And then D'Onofrio is just so sensational, to use a Mallory word.
Amazing in this finale, I thought.
Yeah.
It's just so riveting. I think that in terms of Matt's specific decision again, the seams of the season where it's like a little too ham-fisted. I think you go back to like, was it episode 6? Their fight that we talked about in episode 6 and Matt's pitch, like, you leave New York?
Yeah.
I'll leave New York. And so it's like they never positioned themselves. They were always marching toward Matt saying, the thing that I have told myself I need to do is get you out of New York. That we will never know peace, but this aspect of our lives in relationship to each other, but also in relationship to the city, is over for both of us. And that Matt, a character who pushed Dex off that roof in season 1 of this show, the thing that he fears most about himself is basically like losing control of the ability to follow through on the outcome that he knows is right. That his instinct and impulse, his own morality, his heart will guide him toward a different decision in the moment of actual action than the thing he's like, this is what I have gone in deciding I will do. So like, it's weird because I think it's like all tracks to me on some like mechanical level. But it's impossible to not say, like, wait, Matt, why is this the thing that you think is right?
Well, and also, like, that there was no one in that moment. I mean, we had that earlier Karen-Matt fight about, like, who are we saving, who are we protecting? Which I thought was, like, weirdly done in that moment. But it would not have gone amiss for me to have Karen in that moment, in the mom moment, be like, what are you doing? Why are we still saving him?
Why was she doing all that shit earlier? Yeah, it's not to do exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. What has changed inside of her now?
Did you see season 2 of Game of Thrones? They just, like, tore the High Septon apart, limb from limb. Do it. Like, that's what Karen should have done.
Absolutely. And there should have been a number of people saying, like, actual characters to argue the other point of view. All right. Let's wrap it up here. We got BB at the Bulletin. Were you thrilled to see your favorite editor, Mitchell Ellison, again?
Okay, now I think we agree again that like the BB reports have not worked.
No. Especially her turnaround time on her
oh my God.
Her like clapback video that was edited instantaneously. We know about editing video, and we know
absurd that was ready then.
Get your response up that quickly.
Nonsense.
No.
Couple things here. One, Daniel Blake, our beloved Daniel Blake.
Daddy well.
Shot in the head by CGI. You thought that was bad? Hold my beer. My dude got friend-zoned in death. This BB video, she's like, for our family, and we see her uncle, wonderful, beautiful. And then she says, and our friends. And we see Daniel. And it's like, you couldn't say like friends and almost fuck buddies, and near lovers.
And our pals. And our buddies. And our bros.
It was.
And our buddies.
It's so savagely brutal to be friend-zoned in death. That said,
I would never friend zone you in death.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
I'd be like my erotic muse, Mallory Rubin. R.I.P.
My erotic lady muse.
Ooh.
I thought BB having Daniel's photo, like a photo of them just smiling on her desk, was so sweet and lovely. So nice. I really loved that.
She is a bit more qualified than Karen Page to be a reporter.
She's an actual, yes, she's a trained journalist. I think them moving away from these BB Report interstitials is probably a good choice for season 3. I think that BB, and listen, I was a newspaper journalism major when I started at Syracuse. Shout out Newhouse. I love holding a newspaper in my hand. I love the news. You love the news. Yeah. We're journalists.
I've seen Devil Wears Prada too.
I haven't yet, but I can't wait. BB going to the Bulletin, not sure it tracks. I hope that Ellison is prepared to mentor her more effectively than he did Karen. We'll find out.
Something we are very excited about is what's happening for Heather in season 3. Lady Muse. Let's go. We already talked about Psycho Heather choke punching the shit out of Hochberg, among other things. No orgasm in that moment, sadly.
No, nor for him, because he got punched in the throat.
He got punched in the throat, and it seemed like he was going to die from that punch.
Maybe. It's entirely possible. I mean, he went down sad. What? Obviously, he was kind of like, we should get, by the vending machine.
That came out of nowhere.
There was the one moment.
Earlier this season.
Where he was like, let's find some
And she's like, let me get the vodka.
But that was I don't know. This still took me by surprise a little bit. Not that he would be creepy and misread the room, but.
We're under siege and a man is bleeding out.
Not the moment to go rub the cheek and tuck the hair behind the ears. God.
She's like, don't fucking touch me. It was great. I'm really excited. I mean, her whole Heather hallucinates Muse turns into Heather hallucinates herself. I'm going to read this passage from her book, even though you hate it. The vigilante's mask does not hide his public face. In fact, it reveals his private face. The real mask is the one he wears in his public life. The dutiful boyfriend, the responsible boss, the loyal son, the boring love interest, Heather Glenn. That's her mask. Yep. And her real true self is the choking, orgasming, blood painting.
Good for her.
Potential wig wearing Lady Muse.
I like this.
I'm excited. I really agree.
Back half of the season for Heather. What an upswing. Just
actually kind of all season. Good stuff from her.
Really great. It's been very interesting and entertaining to watch. Performance has been good. I think the idea of taking a character who was so inclined toward, and this makes sense because of her profession, but also the idea of being out on the book tour, telling everybody and in private, telling Matt, I feel sure I know how people's minds work and what it means to make these choices to then be in this situation because of her own personal traumatic experience is fascinating. What level of self-awareness and personal clarity will she have as she becomes Lady Muse versus a complete detachment from being able to identify the way that she has moved into, not even hypocrisy, but just into a different relationship to these ideas because of her own experiences.
Trauma bonds. Trauma response.
Trauma bonds.
If we thought it was fun to watch Matt be slightly bitchy to her in a courtroom.
Oh my God, they're going to.
Matt Murdock having to kill, but maybe not kill, but maybe kill his ex-girlfriend who's now a mass murderer and maybe his fucking ghost Buck Cashman.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Sign me up for season 3.
I'm in. Again, we had to get the passage just so we could be like, whoa, what's the private face? What's the public face before Heather tells herself and us looking into the mirror what her actual public and private face is.
We get it.
It's not the most elegant poetry, but I like where she wound up.
Matt behind bars.
Great stuff.
Did you, Mallory Rubin, worry for a moment that Matt might be proposing to Karen right before he wound up in the clink when he got down on one knee?
So I did. I knew a moment of panic and terror would have been a strange moment to propose marriage, but I didn't rule it out for sure. And then he did that, and it was a relief. Not to see him arrested, but to know that he was not pledging his life in perpetuity to Karen. I think they should just explore other things. That's my personal opinion on it. Not everybody has to agree. I was just like, oh, they're back. This is the place. This is the spot that led to one of the most some would say infamous, some would say iconic moments in television history, which was I could smell the curry on your clothes. We talked about it a lot when we were revisiting the original series heading into Born Again season 1. So just seeing them back in this space really ported me into
a sensory experience.
Yeah, in many respects. Just a moment of reflecting on how much time we've spent with the characters.
Here's one of my favorite moments of the finale. When Matt passes Powell inside of the prison, it immediately transported me to one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Justified. And in season 3, Boyd Crowder gets himself locked up in prison so that he can pursue Dickie Bennett, find out where Max Bennett's money is. There is this incredible shot when he walks down the hallway, and I did make a gif of it last night. He walks down the hallway in his jumpsuit, and Dickie Bennett, Dewey Crow are just sort of like,
so great to see Dewey.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh no, Boyd Crowder is here. So the look exchange between Matt and Powell as they sort of march down their respective prison walks is
great gift work here. You know, Boyd with the jumpsuit buttoned all the way up tight, obviously, to the collar.
I know, but Dickie with the popped
Dickie
collar.
looking really hip and fashionable. Dewey, of course, always looking completely terrified and out of his depth. It's just so perfect all around.
It's an incredible moment in television.
Great stuff.
And I couldn't find the GIF, so I made it. Okay.
Love it. Your commitment to the craft is unrivaled.
Thank you. Is describing a GIF good podcasting? Let's find out. Matt's prison sentence gives a perfect excuse for why he might not be in the movie at all. But then again, Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Yeah. Spidey and the Hand are fighting in a prison.
Yep.
Doesn't look necessarily like the same prison Matt is in.
Yeah.
But I think it opens the door for the possibility that the Hand is here in prison to kill Matt. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
And Spidey is there for some reason to protect him. Is Punisher involved in this particular sequence?
That'd be great.
Who knows? But like, is prisoner Matt Murdock briefly in Spider-Man Brand New Day? What's the are you taking the over, the under? How do you feel about it?
I hope he's in it. I would. It's weird. Frank being there makes it feel both more and less likely to me at the same time. Like, I feel like Frank is kind of there instead of Matt. That's maybe most likely. But if they sprung Matt, maybe we had a prison transfer, and that's why the locale looks a touch different here. But then, like, if Matt is rescued, is he just not in the rest of the story?
I almost think that Matt is going to be one of those, like, oh God, I was about to make a reference to a Buffy thing you don't know about, but like,
protect me.
But like one of those, like, he's going to put himself back in jail. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to protect him from the Hand and be like, do you want to leave with us? And he's going to be like, no, I'm serving my sentence because I believe in the system.
That will be why we got that completely inane scene between Matt and Karen where she's like, I'm not leaving. And he's like, no, yeah, I know. It's like, what? Okay, I mean, I get it. You had to do the whole courtroom thing, but like, what is this conversation? That was so weird. I think this confirms that Matt won't be in the Punisher special. That feels
correct.
Safe.
That's what I think is true.
Spidey, I'm open. I don't know. I can't decide.
I think it'd be fun if he's there for like a scene.
It would be great, given that it was so fun when he was in.
And he was fun. He was there as a lawyer, but we've not seen Spidey and Daredevil fight together, which is always really fun in the comics. So that would be a fun thing to do.
Love.
Is Mr. Charles flying coach? No. 4 questions.
I don't think so, because there's 2 seats next to each other.
But they're kind of small seats. They did not look luxurious to me.
It struck me as an older plane where like either they're in like premium economy comfort plus, or like if it is business class, it's one of the really old planes where they haven't done those nice new like bucket seats.
I will give you, it could be comfort plus.
Thick cushions.
That's as high as I'm willing to go.
The nicer headrest with like the, for sure not coach.
I don't know. I'm just saying I would expect Mr. Charles to be flying in he and
Million Mile Club. I mean,
Dex should be in more luxurious accommodations than they're in that flight. Wilson Bethel is out here stumping for a bullseye show. Of course. What else could he possibly do?
You know where he could have stumped for it? Right fucking here. Right. Something to think about.
But he did tell TV Insider, quote, I can confirm that I'm in season 3, so that's great.
Great.
I would obviously love to be used in some additional Marvel projects down the road, or my own Marvel project. That's a dream. I have my fingers crossed for that, and the fan response to the character hopefully will warrant that. I think what would be a slam dunk would be a bullseye.
Yeah.
is a special.
Yeah.
Just like Punisher's getting a special,
like
he gets an hour-long special. And let's see what Dex as the main character in a story does. And if that does well, sure, put him on the Thunderbolts. Like, bring him in, you know what I mean? But I would like to see, I mean, I believe in Wilson Bethel. I would believe him even more if he were here on the podcast right now, but I believe in him. It's a shield instead. It's the same.
I think
I believe in him, but I would let's not just you know.
No, he's putting his time. Let's give it all to him right now. I like the idea of a special. He's a good character for that. And especially because when Luke shows up and has that scene with Jess and Danny, and he's sort of like, he found someone else, indicates that there is a way that Mr. Charles was using Luke and is going to use Bullseye that is very like singularly focused around missions, tasks.
Are we going to Madripoor? Where are we going?
That would be great. So yeah, make that the special, whatever he's doing for Mr. Charles. And then because of the Mr. Charles Val canonical agency connection, put him right in the new Avengers. Bullseye, you guys talked about this last week, but like I really think he fits like perfectly with that group of, you know, the idea of like the misfits who didn't know how to team up but found each other and also were on an individual and collective redemption quest is like, that's definitely where he belongs.
I agree.
So that would be great. I'm all for it.
Season 3.
Yes.
So they're filming it currently. It's expected to come out March of next year. And
we know we're covering it because we now know Dex is in it. So that's...
And Buck Cashman.
Thank God.
And Psycho Heather Glenn.
Will we get a Daniel Blake flashback memory episode like we got a Foggy memory episode?
Just a parade of wigs? That would be great.
Oh, man.
Mike Coulter, Kristen Ritter, and
that's right,
Finn Jones are in season 3 of Daredevil Born Again. So we're getting the whole Defenders gang back together. Iron Fist himself, about Danny Rand is
2 of
here.
the 3 of those. Yeah. I love Luke Cage. I love Jessica Jones. So I'm super, super hyped.
Alias Investigations is a closing image. Like, I think, so something we didn't talk about in a sort of like season overall, but there has been some like, I think rather dodgy reporting on this. So I'm unwilling to sort of like give it my whole seal of approval, journalistic seal of approval. I was a journalist once, but like the story that's going around, which again, I think is dodgily sourced, is that there's been a 50% drop in the audience viewing season 2 versus season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. Right. Season 3 was already greenlit, but like, is there a limit to how much, you know, there is, you know, we've already said that we kind of like the idea that like, we're going to get a new season of an MCU show every year.
Yep.
This is the third season of an MCU show. Like, wild. You know, like, so to get a new Daredevil show every March, there's something nice about that. We don't have to sort of like remind ourselves what the hell happened last season. I mean, it's still a little bit, but like, you know, not as intensively as the shows that have been gone for 3 seasons, you know, and stuff like that. So, but, you know, are they going to continue to invest in something with diminishing returns? Is Finn Jones the way to boost the numbers? I don't know. But Luke Cage is here. And here's what the showrunners have said. Yeah. Luke Cage is a big part of season 3. And I don't know if they mean that in the same way Jessica Jones was a big part of season 2, but let's find out.
Right.
And the funny thing is, his return is hiding an Easter egg. If you know these characters' histories, you know some of the comic book runs, you'll know what's happening. We tipped our hand for season 3 incredibly at the end of season 2. So that was to comicbookmovie.com. So Luke Cage for mayor of New York City. Do you think that's the storyline we're going to get in season 3?
I would say based on that quote and how closely Born Again this season hewed to the Devil's Reign comic arc, we could just say 100% that's what they're doing because that storyline goes right into Luke as mayor. So that seems like what that quote is pointing toward, what Luke's return is pointing toward, what the exodus of Fisk is pointing toward.
Tough for Sheila.
Tough for Sheila, though she said, I'm loyal to the office of the mayor, not to you, fucker. So there you go. Okay. One more indicator. And like all of the stuff with the governor of like, we're getting you out of office and then there will be these weird little like at the cocktail parties, like, oh, is your candidacy going to be supported? There have been like little, you know, breadcrumbs throughout the season about like who is going to move into that.
We know you're really invested in the mayoral, New York City mayoral race.
Yeah. So I think the Devil's Reign into that stretch of Lucas Mayer seems like a lock. And then some of the Devil in Cell Block D, Matt stuff, canon that they can pull from. It feels like we'll get like a melding as we so often do in the television shows of different comic arcs. But yeah, I think they're just like It doesn't seem to me like they'll hide for long that Luke is mayor. That probably will be like a big part of how they market the season.
Do you think is that we start the season essentially with Luke Cage as mayor, or are we watching like a campaign, like a mayoral race?
Good question. I mean, I guess if Matt is in, part of it feels like maybe related to like
versus Luke Cage.
That would be really fun. How long is Matt going to be in prison? I guess is part of the question too, right? Because on the I guess that's, you know what, now that we can go back to like the Spidey question, because I like what you said about he could put himself back in prison, so maybe that can be addressed either way, but it does feel like part of the reason to do this at the end of season 2 is for Matt to be there for at least some stretch of time at the beginning of season 3. Does that mean he's there for a really long time, or that there's not as much passage of time inside of the fictional universe between seasons, even though it's a year in real life? If Matt is imprisoned for like multiple episodes, then Luke being in power and like Jessica and other characters, potentially including Elektra, who we'll get to in a second, being out there fighting on the street.
Part of that storyline of Matt in prison is like someone taking up the mantle of Daredevil.
Yeah.
The fear I've seen among fans is that is going to be Danny Rand, that Danny will take over as Daredevil.
Let's just do Elektra like we did in the comics. I mean, they both did it, I guess.
I think Elektra would be more fun.
Yeah.
Elodie Young has been posting videos of herself working out, and she's in New York City where they are filming season 3. Do we want to see Elektra in season? I love Elodie Young as Elektra. I'm a big fan.
Let's get them in the boxing ring. Let's get them on a
more heists, more party, like
kitchen island,
heists,
feeding each other cheese from the tip of a knife point.
Yeah.
Boy. Elektra's return would be a tough beat for Karen, but I don't mind it.
You really don't?
I don't mind it.
Anything else? Season 3.
I don't think so. I mean, I am really excited for more Jessica and more Luke. I'm curious to see, we talked about this when we covered the Foggy, like, mid-season deployment, but I'm curious to see how they continue. Like, was that like one last hurrah, giving us that as like a balm for our aching hearts, or will we have room? There are a lot of characters in this show.
But they've killed off a bunch.
Yeah. And they've decided not to care about
Cherry,
an
they don't care about.
Group. So it's still like, that's a lot. I don't want the show to be Defenders. I don't think anybody wants the show to be Defenders.
The show seems to want to be Defenders.
It's a frankly baffling choice based on
how people reacted to Defenders.
The response to Defenders, a show I watched every second of, largely filmed in a building that I used to live directly across from back in my Hell's Kitchen days. But yeah, so I don't know. I think bringing Elektra back would be great. The hand is always welcome in a Daredevil show, and it's fun to know that that's going to be a part of Spidey, even if it's just kind of part of the like vignette, thing that we talked about when we broke down the trailer.
That would be fun if it's just sort of like a montage, and part of the montage is like Matt's there.
That would be great,
what I mean? Like,
honestly.
Just like a real quick Matt check-in.
Yeah, acknowledge him. Make Matt Murdock's.
I think the MCU wants that though, because they're like, hey, you would know why Matt is in prison if you watched our TV show Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, make Matt a pan of Matt in prison or on like a prison transfer bus, just another version of the fucking Captain America Broadway show posters and billboards that we see everywhere. Sure. You know, does Matt deserve more? Yeah, probably, but like
definitely
would that kind of track? Also, yes, I think. So yeah, I don't know. What's your make your prediction now? Put money down on the line. How much Fisk will we get in season 3?
I think Fisk comes in at the end of season 3.
Okay, so they keep him on his island for like 6 out of 8 episodes?
Yeah. 7 and 8. Maybe we see him blurrily on a cell phone in episode 7, and then he shows up in episode 8.
That worked well when they did it last time. Great. They should run that back.
It was really good. Okay. That has been Daredevil Born Again, a show that we felt mixed on, but had some great times with this season, and we continue to hope for it in the ensuing seasons. We're really excited for Spidey.
We're trending up. I can't wait for Spidey.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Really, really excited for Spidey. Avengers, does any of this matter for Avengers? We'll find out together. I don't know. We'll see.
Should we get Karen Page in Secret Wars? What do you think?
Holding the countdown clock?
Oh, that countdown clock. Still feels like a mistake.
Thank you to everyone who helped us out on the pod today. Thank you again to Hannah for this lovely new part of our decor. Thank you to Carlos Chiriboga, Arjuna Ramgopowell, Scott Lee, Jomi Adeniran, Jacob Cornett. You guys are incredible. Everyone here at Sycamore Studios. Thank you, Mallory Rubin.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you for creating a house crest for us. Oh, your skin is really soft today. I mean, it always is, but like, I feel like a rose petal.
That was the most Lady Muse moment one could possibly hope for. Will you commit right now to doing season 3 in the Lady Muse mask?
Not happily. It would spare me a lot of anxiety, frankly, about like, oh my God, we're on camera, 4K, how horrifying.
If I wear the thing that I have for the Vampire Lestat podcast in every single episode of that, will you wear the Lady Muse mask in every single episode of the Daredevil Born Again season 3?
I will do so gladly. We'll have to figure out if like the canvas is too thick to, does it impact the audio quality with the mic? Maybe we can put like a little, one of those little like fluffy Instagram mics on the inside.
Just to tickle the old ivories. Yeah, sounds great.
I'm in.
All right. Thank you to everyone. We will be back next week we'll be checking on Punisher.
That's right. Yes.
And The Dark Knight.
Yes.
With hyped. At least one, if not 2 friends of the pod is the plan.
Friend of the pod month.
See you then. Bye.